Alrighty, we are looking at skill 21. What are you trying to suggest? If you're just joining me and you didn't watch skill 20 video, what you will do is you will go to your agenda, and above your agenda, there will be a folder that says ACT Reading Packet Skills 17 through 29. And you will click on that. And just a reminder that your reading strategy is to first answer lined questions, then answer all the hunting questions, which are the paragraphs where the answers are, and then all the inferential. And that will speed you up because you have 40 questions in 35 minutes. Okay, so what are you trying to suggest? I'm suggesting that you take notes. And so your ACT Mantra 21 is for suggest questions. Look for the answer that is hinted at in the passage, though it might be a different language. It should be pretty close to what is actually said. Okay, so here we are talking about this is a social science. So, social science is, I said in our notes that it was like Dr. Phil. It could also be called behavioral science. It's how people act. And so, that's what we'll be mindful of when we read the bold introduction. This passage is adapted from Emergent Democracies, Liberal Economic Policy, Pakistan, and the Zakaria Hypothesis, an essay by Michael Brooks, Muhammad Ali Jinnah founded the nation of Pakistan. So, number one says it can reasonably be inferred from the second paragraph that at the time when Muhammad Ali Jinnah founded Pakistan, Jinnah felt that the Muslim population on the subcontinent was. So I think what I will do is try the strategy where we read the first and the last sentence of each paragraph to get me an idea. So I'm going to do that now. An essential understanding of Pakistan's political history starts with an understanding of the motivations of the nation's founder, Muhammad Ali Jinnah. As a politician, Jinnah was highly westernized and not a particularly religious man who was a leading figure in the Indian independence movement. So, westernized means that he was like us, like we're in America, we're in westernized. And so he wasn't religious, and he wanted to be like Americans. Paragraph 2. In founding Pakistan, Jinnah sought protective space from the subcontinent's minority Muslim population and was interested in promoting Western secular government as a base for Pakistan. While Pakistan was consciously Muslim in that its national identity was based on the independence and protection of Muslims, the country did not, in Jinnah's vision, seek to impose an Islamic style of governing. Paragraph 3. In fact, Jinnah sought to assure Pakistan's minorities that they would be protected and allowed to worship freely. Skipping to the last sentence, it is safe to assert that Jinnah sought a state Islamic ethic and Western style judicial and political systems of governance. So, when somebody is talking about religious freedom, there's two different ways of looking at that. You can think of it like freedom from the government to worship the way that you want, or it can be freedom to not worship, to have a secular, secular means worldly. So, not have a religious influence on your life based on the government. So, two different ways of looking at that. And Jinnah wanted to keep the government out of religion. He wasn't religious, and he didn't want that influence on his country. Okay, so it can reasonably be inferred that from the second paragraph that at the time when Muhammad Ali Jinnah founded Pakistan, Jinnah felt that the Muslim population on the subcontinent was um, so it says that in the second paragraph that Jinnah sought protective space for the subcontinent's minority Muslim population. So we're going to use process of elimination. Um, it isn't A because it wasn't, the paragraph doesn't talk about them being highly westernized. Um, B talks about if he thought that they needed a protective space, then maybe he thought that they were being ill treated. Um, C, there was nothing about their heritage, and D, it didn't mention anything about wanting an independent state. So you have to infer, and you have to say, well, if he needed them to be protected, then maybe he thought that they weren't being treated right. So the answer there is B. Number 2, by his statement, Islamic teachings through tolerance in lines 23 and 24, the author is most nearly suggesting that, and so let's go read that. Let's look at the last paragraph. In fact, Jinnah sought to assure Pakistan's minorities that they would be protected and allowed to worship freely. According to the biographical accounts, Jinnah, Pakistan, and the Islamic identity, Jinnah espoused, that means he believed, that Islamic teachings emphasize personal piety and universal tolerance, and that Western style democracy, despite its flaws, was the best system available to Muslims. So, personal piety, in this sense, sometimes piety means like you're stuck up or snooty, but in this sense, it means personal piety is talking about a personal faith that doesn't have to be influenced by other people or doesn't need to influence other people. And so, we're on number 2. So for number 2, we're looking at H. He thought that Islam could not function. No, that's not right. I'm sorry. Considered religious freedom important in Pakistan. Okay, so that would be H. And then 3, it can most reasonably be inferred from the passage when the author says the motivations of the nation's founder in line 3 that he is most nearly referring to. We've talked about this. C, Jinnah's plan for a secular government in Pakistan. So go ahead and get these in. Do the bonus if it's available. Take notes and get those bonus points. And rock fourth quarter for ACT prep. I'll be on every day from noon to 2 during quarantine, Monday through Friday if you need me. Thanks.